Welcome back, friends, to another video. There is a crisis going on right now at Goldman Sachs. Now, of course, Goldman Sachs is one of the best known investment banks in the world with a global recognition for excellence in investment banking. But last week, a PowerPoint presentation was released to the press that revealed horrible working conditions at the investment bank. Now, this is an important news story for anybody who works in the financial industry, so I'm going to be breaking it all down for you in this video. Everyone knows that if you work at Goldman Sachs, you are going to have to work hard. But I think most people who read this newspaper article were shocked at the grueling working conditions at Goldman Sachs. Now, I have the PowerPoint presentation that was leaked to the press. The presentation was prepared by HR and showed that first-year analysts work an average of 98 hours per week. Here's a quote in the presentation from one of the analysts. "What is not okay to me is 110 to 120 hours over the course of a week. The math is simple. That leaves 4 hours a day for eating, sleeping, showering, bathroom, and general transition time. This is beyond the level of hard working. This is inhumane and abuse." The CEO of Goldman Sachs has been quick to respond this week. He released a statement claiming that the leadership team takes the comments very seriously. However, he did not agree to any concrete changes. He simply said the company would strengthen the attempt to let people have Saturdays off, and they would hire additional staff. This is an issue that we need to talk about as finance professionals. Goldman Sachs happens to be in the news, but it's not just them. It is all the investment banks and all the major accounting firms. They all treat their employees this way. They are all working insanely long hours. Now, I've made a lot of videos on this, and my message is always the same. We have the power as a community to define the work week. These companies make people work insane hours because we let them get away with it. There should not be any question. It is inhumane to require an employee to work 98 hours per week. How is this legal? How is this happening in the United States in 2021? We need to tell our politicians in Washington, D.C. that they need to stop this from happening. For some historical context, in the United States, we have the Fair Labor Standards Act, or FLSA, signed into law in 1938. Before this law was signed, there was no minimum wage, businesses were hiring children, and it was normal for people to work 12 to 14-hour days, 7 days a week. Safety was also a big problem, and injuries and deaths in factories were common. So keep this in mind. 83 years ago, people felt that 60 hours a week was too much, and we passed laws against it. The U.S. passed FLSA protecting children and requiring businesses to pay time and a half for blue-collar work over 40 hours per week. So today, we have a portion of the workforce in the U.S. known as blue-collar workers who are protected. However, white-collar workers, which include accountants and finance professionals, have no workplace protections under FLSA. Whenever we talk about workers' rights, people will argue against it, saying businesses need free markets and less regulation. Now, if you watch my channel, you know I'm a big supporter of free markets. But free markets does not mean you cannot have limits. We've all agreed that child labor in sweatshops is bad. That is a limit we have put on the free market. Another argument you will hear about is young people. Now, I have heard people respond to this news story by talking badly about young people today. People say that young people are snowflakes and just have to toughen up, get a thicker skin, and put in the hours. But I think differently. Maybe we should be listening to our young people. Maybe our young people look at the business world today and see ways that we could be running things better. Maybe there are more efficient ways to run an investment bank than to have your employees work 98 hours per week. I am speaking from experience here. I have worked some really long hours in my career. Anyone who has worked long hours, if they're honest, they will tell you that your productivity goes down throughout the day. The first 8 hours, you're going to be pretty alert. You'll have lots of energy, you'll be able to focus and think clearly. But at some point, you start becoming less effective at your job. If you have been at work for 14 hours, the quality of your work at the end of the day is not the same as it was at the beginning of the day. You start to slow down, you start making more mistakes, you're not thinking as clearly. So if businesses spent more effort scheduling their people and hiring more people, the business might even be more productive because their worn-out employees will not be walking around like zombies. Even if you are not working at one of these investment banks, you should really care about this issue because this affects everyone. The decisions made by the workers at Goldman Sachs impact the rest of the economy. These are important jobs, and we need the workers at Goldman Sachs to be making good, thoughtful decisions. If they are working 98 hours per week, how can they possibly be making good decisions? They are exhausted. If this is the way things are being run, is it any surprise that our economy is full of problems? We desperately need finance professionals and accountants who are well-rested and making good decisions. So what do we do about this? In my videos, I recommend that in the United States, we change FLSA laws to cover all workers. Anyone who works over 40 hours in a week should be paid time and a half. It would be a simple change to existing laws on the books, and it would create an incentive for businesses to stop taking advantage of their workers. Even if you think, Zach, you're going too far here. If you think my recommendation is too much, let's at least put some limits on these companies. Let's put a cap saying it is illegal to work someone more than 60 hours per week. 60 hours per week is already horrible. We decided it was inhumane 83 years ago. Let's at least put some limit into place. We as a society get to decide what an inhumane work environment looks like. And a 98-hour per week workplace is inhumane, and it should not happen in any business in the United States. There should be laws on the books to make sure it doesn't happen. Again, I'm sure that the free market people will argue that if these workers at Goldman Sachs are so unhappy, they can just leave. Can't they just quit their jobs? The answer is no. They really can't, because where are they going to go? There's no alternatives here. All the major investment banks and all the major accounting firms treat their employees the same way. There are no protections. You are expected to work insane hours. Of course, the employee could become a blue-collar worker in a factory, where they would at least have some protections, but I'm betting they became an accountant or a finance professional because they like the job and they want to do meaningful work. The bottom line is, it is not right. You should not be put in the situation of having to decide to work a 98-hour work week or quit your job. That is not right. You should have the opportunity to do your job in a happy and healthy workplace environment. These jobs are important roles in society, and we should be treating these people with some dignity. We need good people to become financial professionals, and we need them to be in an environment where they can make good, healthy decisions. Now I want to hear from you. What do you think about financial companies forcing their employees to work insane hours? Should we put limits on these companies? You know, am I crazy here? Am I the only one who thinks 98 hours a week is insane? I mean, what is going on here? Let me just throw an idea out there. One of these days, I'm going to start my own investment bank, and then I will buy Goldman Sachs, and all you investment bankers can come work for my company, and you will work 40 hours a week, and I will work the extra hours so that you can go home and watch your kids play soccer. I'm Zach from Wolves in Finance. Let's go out and make some money.